What's going on, guys? Welcome to the Talking Pigskin Week 8 edition. Happy to tell you that finally, after 7 weeks of football, I finally went 5-0 last week with my picks. Feel very good about it. It's about damn time. I've been making those picks for a while, and I don't think I've ever had a perfect week. So, very happy to see that. And on a sour note, I was at the Jets game against the Vikings. Granted, I did pick the Vikings to win that game, but I also did expect the Jets to put up a fight, which they did in the first half. Second half, we were just no match for that Viking team. They clearly ran us out of the stadium, and it's okay. Darnold needs to play and get used to the cold weather. He's from San Clemente, California, so he's never seen temperature under 40 degrees, so he's going to have to get used to that for the next several years that he's going to be as a New York Jet quarterback. So happy that, he got a lot of he took a lot of bad hits in cold weather, and he bounced right back up, which is good for him. Defense played well in the first half. It's just that second half they just couldn't contain that Viking offense, which is probably no, they're great. So can't be too upset about that. 3-4, they're still doing pretty good as expected, and we'll see what happens next week. So let's jump into Week 8 picks, and first game we have is Philadelphia Eagles they're traveling to London to take on the London Jaguars, because let's face it, that's about to be the case in a couple of years' time. Sure, Jacksonville is struggling a lot, and Blake Bortles got benched last week, mid-third quarter, in place for Cody Kessler, who is not any better. I am not sure why Tom Coughlin didn't pull the trigger on Teddy Bridgewater when the Jets were trying to trade him before the season started. So now he has to stick with Blake Bortles for God knows how long. And I don't think that defense is playing up to their speed either, because they're just not relying on offense to do anything anymore. I think there's a huge disconnect between the offense and defense and the front office in Jacksonville. I think Doug Marrone needs to get it together down there. As far as the world champion Eagles, they have their own struggles as well. Offense hasn't been clicked all year. At 3-4, they're clearly suffering through a Super Bowl hangover that needs to change if they have a shot, if they want to get back to the playoffs, especially with Carson Wentz and the rest of that offense. They need to get it together. The defense blew a 17-point lead in the fourth quarter, which is inexcusable if you ask me. So hopefully Jim Schwartz will have them wired up, and they will come out with a victory over the Jaguars in London. Next up, we have the Baltimore Ravens taking on the Carolina Panthers. Panthers, again, we just talked about how they came back against the Eagles. They can fall behind like that every game, especially against a good defense like Baltimore's, who is coming to town after Justin Tucker's first extra point missed out of the 223 attempts he had. They could have easily taken down the Saints, but unfortunately they lost by one. They're looking pretty good this year. They'd expect them to be one of the AFC powerhouses, and they're proving that. As far as the Panthers, Cam Newton is playing pretty good, but they cannot go scoreless 3 quarters again. And I think at home, I know the Ravens are favored, but I think the Panthers will take care of business and get the W. Next game we have is the Chicago Bears hosting my New York Jets. And can get ugly real quick, because the Chicago Bears offense is high-powered, just like if you compare to Falcons and Rams. They have so many plays on offense. Mitchell Trubisky has been playing very good this year. The problem is on the defensive side of the ball. After the first couple of weeks of Khalil Mack's amazing stats, he kind of cooled off a little bit. And Vic Fangio needs to get that defense together, because they haven't played well in the last couple of weeks. Losing to Dolphins and Patriots, letting them score over 30 plus, it's a lot. But I think with the Jet offense coming into town, who is banged up in all areas, the Jets will struggle against the Bears. I think the Bears defense may have a turnaround, bounce back game for themselves. I think Khalil Mack is a game time decision. If he does play, who knows how effective he will be. But as far as the Jets, the defense is banged up, offense is banged up. As long as Darnold can get more experience in cold weather city, like in Chicago, and play as a decent game, I'll be good with it. But I don't expect them to win. I think the Bears will easily take care business here. Next game we have is the Rams hosting the Green Bay Packers. On paper, this should have been a much better matchup than we're actually getting, because the Packers have Aaron Rodgers, and then there's the Rams, who cannot be stopped this year at 7-0. Packers, they need to, they're coming off a bye week. Hopefully Rodgers is a little healthier than before. They need to get that team going. Mike Pettin, who was a former Jets DC, now is taking over the Packers defensive job, and he hasn't changed much. So hopefully that will not be the case on Sunday. They will be able to tame Jared Goff a little bit, but I don't see them slowing down that Ram offense, especially with Todd Gurley the way he's playing. Rodgers should have a decent day, but I think in a high-scoring shootout, the Rams will win at home. And last game we have is the Minnesota Vikings hosting the New Orleans Saints. The Saints coming off a last-minute win against the Ravens. They should be jacked up and ready to go for their second road game in a row. I think Drew Brees is having another great year. Alvin Kamara, Michael Thomas, that offense has been great. Thankfully, the defense kind of sort of shaped up since opening week after the brutal loss against the Buccaneers. So hopefully they'll be able to take that defense into Minnesota. But the Vikings are rolling. Here they come. Dalvin Cook is still out, but Latavius Murray has been doing well in his place. And Stephon Diggs and Adam Thielen cannot be stopped. Kirk Cousins is finally living up to his contract, so hopefully we'll get a great Sunday night game. But in a very close game, I'm going to pick the Saints to come out on top. So there you have it. We have the Eagles, the Bears, the Panthers, the Saints, and the Rams this week. Hopefully I'll go 5-0 again. 4-1 more preferably, just because I want the Jets to win, but I don't see it happening. So let me know what you guys think of these picks. Comment, like, subscribe, and I'll see you guys next week for Week 9.